Welcome back to another very exciting episode of Modded Motors. Today we're going to be talking about your two favorite Alfas. We have some 4C questions in there. We don't have a 4C, but use your imagination. We asked Google, TikTok, and YouTube what are 5 of the most prominent questions that people ask about these cars. And we figured since we're your specialists, we'd go ahead and answer that for you today. If you are not aware, it is Vlogmas right now. If you want to get entered to win free Alfa Romeo stuff, all you have to do is comment on every single video that we drop in December, and you're automatically entered. Be subscribed, comment, like, all that good stuff, and you get free stuff. We're giving away monochrome badges. You can see right there, those black and chrome badges. We're giving brakes away. We're giving a whole bunch of different stuff. If you want to see what we're giving away, it's right up here. There's gonna be 10 different winners, okay? So the first 5 questions are from YouTube. Number 1. How fast is a 0 to 60 on the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio? Although these look like variations of it, neither of these are the Quadrifoglio. We have a crash Quadrifoglio in our garage that we're working on. However, neither of these are that. But the Quadrifoglio goes 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. The base model, which you see right in front of us, goes 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. And the all-wheel drive goes 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. So that is for the Alfa Romeo Giulia models. Question number 2 is how reliable are Alfa Romeos after 50,000 miles? Which is always the burning question. How reliable is Alfa Romeo? 50,000 miles, you know, I haven't had any problems. This is sitting at currently 60 something. That one's about to hit 70,000 miles. So far, as you guys see from the channel, pretty reliable. Haven't had any major issues with the cars. Now that these cars are getting a little bit older, right? These released what, in 2016? Technically, 2017 was the first model, but 2016 was they started production. You're gonna start having some things maybe go out on these cars. Most common things around the 60 to 70, which is not 50, but 60 to 70, like your turbo, your evap canister. Some people blow their motors if they do too much crazy stuff with them and don't maintain them properly. So if you're using this video to buy one, I highly recommend making sure that you check all the maintenance on the car, see what major services have been done, have they been doing at every interval what they should be doing on these cars, because as any car, if you do not maintain them properly, they're going to have issues. Buying used, that is always the risk that you take. It's not just with Alfa Romeos, it's with any car that you buy used. You're taking on the gamble that the last person did the right thing. Your better option is to potentially find either leases or dealer cars that they were using as demo cars, something of that nature. I've driven this car all the way to California and back, no issues. We may potentially be driving this to PA and back. We'll see how it does. We drive this car quite literally everywhere. We've put 30,000 miles in less than 2 years of ownership, and have had 0 issues with our Stelvio. I mean, not even a leak, nothing. Just oil changes, and it's been good. So 30,000 miles of no problems. This car has obviously had issues along the way, but stuff that normally breaks on Alphas, like the bleeder screws, which we've done a whole video about. Alfissimo sells those. Turbos start to wear out. We have wastegate arms for those. There's a solution for every minor problem out there. You just kind of have to do your research, and this channel has a ton of answers of little problems that we fixed. Question number 3. Can the Alfa Romeo Stelvio handle off-road conditions? Excuse my poor attempt at showing you off-road. You know, it depends on what you mean by off-road. If you mean like really off-road, like locking differential, all that good stuff, like you would see in the Porsche, no, that's not what this does. Can it handle all terrain? It's an all-wheel drive? Yeah, I can. I can go test it on real off-road terrain, but you know, I gotta go with somebody that can pull me out just in case, worst case scenario. But if you like regular gravel and stuff, if that's what you're looking for, sure. But you know, it's not gonna, I wouldn't recommend going mudding in it, if that's the question. Again, you gotta lock that diff to get out of tough places, and this just isn't equipped. It's not that type of car. This is more of a sport SUV that's meant to go fast. Not this one specifically, but they're meant to go fast. It wasn't built for off-roading, but in theory, I guess you could do off-roading. Okay. Is the Alfa Romeo 4C a good investment sports car? Love this question. It's a better option than the Giulia and the Stelvio, even in the Quadrifoglio models. I think the 4C has retained its value really well. You know, I'll tell you the story. When I first went to go buy my first Giulia off the showroom floor, there was a 4C there, and they're very comparable in price at the time. I think there's a $5,000–$10,000 price difference. And I eventually went with the Giulia because I needed a daily driver, and the 4C didn't make sense. Year one, I lost like 40% of my value, and the 4C has stayed pretty consistent all the way through. As of the Alfa Romeo models, the 4C would be the better option, in my honest opinion. But is there a better investment car out there? I think there's better investment cars out there, but you know, if you're looking for something not to depreciate in value and you really want an Alfa Romeo, the 4C would be the best option of the batch. The last question for YouTube is, what is the biggest difference between the Quadrifoglio and the base model? Okay, well, the engine is going to be the biggest factor. 6-cylinder versus 4-cylinder. The Giulia 2.0s, we'll call them the 2.0s because there's TA, Veloce, there's a whole bunch of different submodels, but all 2.0s use the 4-cylinder. Same thing for the Stelvios. The Quadrifoglios all use the 6-cylinder, the big boy engine, producing 505 horsepower. That is the biggest difference that you're going to see. But also, it comes down to aesthetics. So if you take the Stelvio, for example, front bumper's different, hood's different, fenders are different, over fenders are different, rear bumper's different, side skirts are different. Same thing on this one, hood's different, bumper's different, fender's different, side skirt's different, and a rear bumper is different with a wing on attached to the back. So there's some aesthetic differences between the two. Thankfully for Alfa Romeo, whether they intentionally did this or not, everything is transferable because the Giulia, again, is built top down, meaning they built the Quadrifoglio first and the submodels after. Everything is transferable. So, for example, if you wanted to put everything that's Quadrifoglio onto a 2.0 like we did here, it looks just like that, right? And same thing for this. You want these? A lot of these are Quadrifoglio pieces that just stick right on because that's the way they built it. Sorry. Okay, we are now hopping over to the TikTok realm. TikTok wants to know, what is the most affordable Alfa Romeo to buy? Easy answer, the 2.0, as we just went into. There is different variations between it. The base model is the cheapest. Now, I will say if you have just a little bit more of a budget, I would go with an upgraded like TI or Veloce, one of the other ones that have like the paddles and different stuff that make it just a little bit better. My favorite base model or lower edition than the Quadrifoglio is the Carbon Edition, which comes with pretty much everything that you would see on a Quadrifoglio except for the motor. That is my favorite 2.0 package if you were going to go with a lower trim model. But the cheapest Alfa Romeo on the market is the 2017 base model. Those should be the cheapest cars. Those are the first production, no attachments, no paddles, no nothing. That is the cheapest model that you can find for these cars.
Question number 2, do Alfa Romeos have bad resale?
Yo, Alfa Romeos have atrocious resale. If you are buying an Alfa Romeo to keep the resale value, you are in the wrong niche, okay? You go to Toyota, you go to something Japanese, go anywhere else other than Alfa Romeo. If you're overseas, Italy, anywhere not in the US, that is a completely different story for you guys. They retain their value, from what I've heard, pretty well. It's here in the States that they just don't have a good reputation because they're attached to Stellantis and it's just not a good time. So they depreciate really hard in value. So if you're buying this and you're hoping to keep your value, that is not the right move. So if you're buying this, expect to lose significant value year over year. For example, I bought this at $24,000 just a few years ago, and these are now like 15, 14. You can maybe even get them for 12. So, you know, you're talking about a $10,000 loss in a few years. At the time, I got that way under market. So, again, if you're buying these to retain value, please don't. There's other cars for that. However, I will argue that you do not buy an Alfa Romeo to retain value. You buy it for the experience. So, you know, whole different topic there.
Question number 3, how to tell if Alfa Romeo dealer is overcharging for a part?
I don't know how to answer this one. Sorry, this is just what they gave me. I didn't know. How to tell if a dealer's overcharging, that's a tough one. Do your research, go on Google, figure out the different price points. If you're looking to get the full service done, like let's say they're trying to charge you X amount of dollars for oil change service or X amount of dollars for your 50,000 mile service, your dealer pricing is always going to be more expensive. That is just the dealer markup for any dealership across the board. If you're looking at specific part, get the part number, shop other retailers. Like for example, Alfissimo sells a lot of OEM parts. They usually come in under dealer pricing. So best advice, get the part number and do a manual search. Now because these things are used, you can maybe even find them used parts on eBay and some different places, but go used or go with a outside dealer retailer. Are you talking about hidden features? I don't really know what you're referring to, or I don't know what people are looking for. Something that people miss when they have their Alphas is this little compartment right here. It's a cool little nuggie that people forget to look into. I have a little thing to reset my radio in here, but this is a cool little compartment people forget about if that's what you're looking for. If you want to get in depth into like real hidden features, again, because these are built top down, a lot of the features are easily programmable from the Quadrifoglio, including race mode, pull both paddles to go into neutral, a lot of different things like that. But you will need multi-ECU scan to get those hidden features pulled out of your Alfa. So if you want deep hidden features, you need the software for it, if that makes sense. Question number 5 for TikTok is, how do you reset your check engine light? Okay, there's a few different ways we can do this. First, if you have the throttle control, it's like a standard code that will come up. It's a one-time code. Maybe something went off for whatever reason. You can get in your car, turn your steering wheel all the way to the right and all the way to the left. And you're gonna center it. You're gonna turn it off. And it should kick off if it's like a standard code, okay? If it is a persisting code, it will come back. I'll say there are 2 different types of check engine lights. One is you'll see just the illuminated check engine light with the throttle control error. Usually those are easily clearable with this little trick right here. You may have to do the trick a few times. If it is a flashing check engine light, like the check engine light is flashing, that means there's something seriously wrong. I would highly recommend stop driving the car and try to diagnose and figure out what's wrong with the car. Let's say it's just illuminating, nothing's blinking, and you just need it cleared, and it's not clearing away. You can try to get it with your Squadra logger. We did a whole video on this, on why we recommend it, but if you can look in here, it says no DTC, which is pretty much errors found on PCM. All you'd have to do is push this button and it'll clear while you're driving, which is really easy. And for whatever reason, if that doesn't solve your problem, you'll need either multi-ECU scan or just an OBD2 reader to start pulling codes. But those are the 2 easiest ways to get rid of your code without, going to full diagnosis. And before we get into these last 5 questions here, I want to remind you of today's sponsor. Vincent at Northwestern Mutual is the sponsor of today's video. If you're looking at financial planning and preparing for your future, maybe even picking up a new car, I highly recommend checking out Vincent. He's going to have a link down in the description. All you have to do is fill a handful of questions out and set up a 30-minute consultation so he can help get you prepared for your future. Thank you, Vincent, for sponsoring today's video. Alrighty, last 5 are from Google. All right, question number 1, are Alfa Romeos expensive to insure? But typically not. It just depends on your age, really, where it comes down to. I think insurance premiums all over the United States are going up. Currently for both cars a month, I think I pay like, well, actually all my cars, I pay about $400. But I have this Giulia, I have 2 other Giulias that don't even run, and an FRS. So it just depends. I've been with the same insurance for many, many years. I have a pretty good record outside my wife, and typically my insurance rates aren't too bad. But if you're under the age of 25, expect a little bit higher premiums, because I talk to you guys all over the United States, and some of you guys are a lot younger. I've heard some pretty crazy rates out there. If you're considering buying one of these cars and you are under the age of 25, I highly recommend maybe calling some insurance companies. Use a VIN number from like Auto Trader and try to get some guesstimated price ranges of where you'll be at before you make a commitment, because you do not want to be blindsided by insurance premiums. That's never a good time. Question number 2 from Google, what are the most common problems? We talk about it a lot on this channel. We've talked about what we've gone through. In the first years of ownership, because these were new to the States, they had like turbo O-rings, the radiators would crack. Most of these things were taken care of by the dealer within the first 50,000 miles. Now that we've been outside of that, obviously things like we recommend, sometimes the turbos can get worn out or the wastegate arm can get worn out. We sell a replacement for those. The bleed screws are made of plastic, those break. Bumper tabs break. We should have those back in stock on our website pretty soon here. Headlights, I've started to see kind of go out. Those are pretty expensive, to be quite honest. I don't know if they're just cracking or people, I don't know. I think it's just maybe getting bad with wear and tear, but headlights I've seen started to come up as a problem. You're not gonna have problems when it comes to the actual like transmission. It's a ZF transmission. It's like what BMW, everybody uses a ZF. You can go look up the ZF. Everyone is using that transmission. You're not going to have problems when it comes to transmission. The engine, as I've said in multiple videos, is a sister of the Jeep Wrangler. They're pretty well tested. You're not going to have too many issues. Maybe the multi-air unit system, but typically not. Most of the things that you're going to see that go on with these cars or go wrong with them are like the little finicky issues, like the radio. You know, the screens go out, sometimes they get cracked. You know, you may have tiny little electrical bugs here and there, but nothing that isn't clear by itself. So no like major like, oh, my car's gonna blow up or something tragic is gonna happen, but there are little finicky things. Again, most things were covered in the first 50,000 miles under warranty. If your car's extremely low mild, like a 2017 at 20,000 miles, you may want to look at some of those things because they probably didn't drive it enough to run into those issues. All right, question number 3, is the Quadrifoglio motor actually a Ferrari motor? Now, I know a lot of people say this, a lot of people start their videos with, this is a Ferrari motor. Technically, it's not. It's designed by the Alfa Romeo team. However, I never say Italian names anymore because I always butcher them on this channel, but his name is right up here. He was Alfa Romeo's chief technical officer during the development of the Quadrifoglio, and him and his team designed Ferrari motors. So basically, the same guy that designed Ferrari motors designed the Quadrifoglio. So is it a Ferrari motor? No. But can you say the same guy designed Ferrari motors? Yes. Are they heavily inspired and pretty much exactly like a Ferrari motor? Very close to it. But it's technically, if you want to be technical, it was developed under Alfa Romeo. So yes, you get a Ferrari inspired 6-cylinder for a very, very budget friendly cost. That is why people are in love with these cars, because these are very sport car, Ferrari inspired, not really, but kind of technically car. Question number 4 is safety ratings for our beloved Stelvio. The Euro NCAP 5 stars, A NCAP 5 stars, NHTSA, I don't really think they have anything published for it. In July of 2024, Stellantis announced a recall affecting Alfa Romeo Stelvio models due to the seatbelt. So I'm assuming that's why they may not have their rating up. I could have sworn it was a 5-star rating. Every crash test that you guys see of these cars, they handle pretty well. If you look at the Alfa Romeo Giulia Facebook groups or forums, they look like they handle really well in crashes. Everyone seems to have a long life after it, so don't take my word for it, do your own research. But, you know, technically, the ratings that are out there are all 5-star. Again, every country has different standards, but I would rate that these cars are pretty, you know, well built for crash safety standards, or else they wouldn't be on the road, right? This was an interesting question. Number 5, are there any Alfa Romeo electric cars right now? If you ask an actual enthusiast, Jesus Christ, they would absolutely hate you for asking that question. So I thought that it was interesting that they did ask that question. Alfa Romeo has made a commitment to go electric. Whether that is the right move or not is not really the answer. I think some people just like electric and they want it. So I could see why Alfa Romeo is pushing that way. I think it is criminal that they discontinued the Quadrifoglio to pursue their electric. Maybe now that the CEO is out, that we may be getting the Quadrifoglios back, is what I'm crossing my fingers on. There's no technical fully electric Alfa Romeo that's here available in the States. The Tonale is a hybrid. That is the closest thing that you're getting right now that you can buy today. Tonale, we went to go see them in person, test drove them. They're really cool cars. They are not the Giulia or the Stelvio, but if you're looking to get an entry-level Alfa Romeo that's hybrid, that has good fuel economy, the Tonale is a good option. However, I would highly encourage you to go look at the Stelvios. It's a just much better driving experience and roughly the same price. Okay, these videos are always hard. We're again in the middle of Vlogmas, so we tried thinking of a concept and we asked what are the FAQs for every platform, and hopefully if you don't own an Alfa, hopefully this helps. If you do own an Alfa, maybe you can agree or disagree, or maybe answer some of your own FAQs down below that potential owners may read. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.